So we're continuing to examine battles in the Eastern Front of the Civil War in the northern central Virginia area today, as we'll look at the Peninsular Campaign, the 7 Days Battle, and the Second Battle of Bull Run. After the failure at First Bull Run, Lincoln realized that he needed a better trained army. He put General George B. McClellan in charge of developing an army that is more disciplined, tougher, better trained, more organized. McClellan did a spectacular job of turning a ragtag group of volunteers of 100,000 men into a formidable, organized, well-trained fighting force. However, as much of a genius as McClellan is at organization and training, he is that bad at battlefield tactics and overall war strategy. Although he has this powerful army, he hesitates to attack. He makes up excuses, like saying the Confederates had more men than they really had. And when he does attack, he attacks in a very slow manner. Instead of a direct attack on Richmond, he will slowly meander south by boat and then go off to the side through the swamps of southern Virginia around the Jamestown and Yorktown area. And this is called the Peninsular Campaign. His huge army had to march through the swamps, which slowed them down, which let the Confederates know they were coming. It also wore them out, which made the Confederates have that much more advantage as well. In addition to that, as they moved up the peninsula, once they reached the hills around Richmond, Robert E. Lee and the Confederates set up on the high ground, giving them a distinct advantage in the battle over the Union Army, which was coming from sea level up the peninsula. The 7 Days Battle, after Robert E. Lee had entrenched his men to stop the Peninsular Campaign, they came with a strong counterattack to push McClellan back down the peninsula. In the 7 Days Battle, Robert E. Lee's force bludgeoned the Union Army backwards, a tired, fatigued Union Army from marching in the swamps. And McClellan's Peninsular Campaign becomes a complete failure with thousands of casualties in the 7 Days Battle. Lincoln, very frustrated back in Washington, as he hears McClellan's retreat, orders another general to do an all-out straight attack on Richmond, which is what McClellan should have done with his Potomac fighting force in the first place. However, the second fighting force out of Washington is not nearly as strong as the Army of the Potomac under McClellan. They have less men, or less organized, and they run into Stonewall Jackson's forces once again at Manassas Junction and Bull Run Creek. And in the Second Battle of Bull Run, Stonewall Jackson and his men outmaneuver, outflank, out-strategize, out-tough the Union Army once again for another victory. This victory proved to be kind of fool's gold for the South, though. They'd won all the battles so far, sticking to their plan of defense only, and seemed to be really dominating the war. However, with another victory at Second Bull Run, the Southern leadership decides that they want to start attacking into the north, abandoning their plans that have been working so well, which will become very costly to the Confederates in the future.